in these streets every day, I can't get no rest. Early morning, niggas sleep, I'm running to the check. I put 1 foot on the floor and 1 foot on their necks. All this work that I put in, I earned my respect. Ain't believe me when I told them niggas I'm the one. I was putting in that work while niggas having fun. I'ma do this for the times when they ain't give me none. I took it personal, I swear that this a different run. Turn around, secure the law, we back the same day.
Good time of day, Pretty and Pride listeners. This is your host, Kiki.
And I'm your host, Ken.
Welcome back to the pod where we discuss all things pop culture.
Well, not all things, just the things that we care about.
True. And also, where we have strong opinions, but don't do a ton of research into it. So,
no. I'm interested to hear how your week's been.
That big inhale, I'm going to say it was good. There's definitely some developments, as there usually are in everyone's week, where things happen. But overall, could complain, but we'll choose not to. And I'm happy to be here. How about you?
My week was a little exhausting, to be fair. So I think I'm with you. Can complain. Have complained. We'll save our listeners from hearing my complaints continue into today. So, yeah, it's just been one of those weeks where it's like there's a lot going on external to like the macro of the world, and then there's what's happening in our little micro environments of our lives. And so managing and navigating that is our burden. Just as
literally what life is about, apparently.
everyone else's burden, yeah. So
yeah.
Did anything notable happen that you want to discuss?
It's not pod appropriate.
No?
No.
Well, I'm on my period, so, I'm feeling great.
I would say the best part of the week was Indian food. That was great. That's always
at the club of more than just me, my friends gathering for food
with your friends. It's really good.
Kiki attended Foodie Club, and she was confronted over her commentary around apparently just doing things with friends is a club these days.
Yeah.
She was reminded that our Foodie Club was established with agendas.
The club members were not happy that I said it was just getting together and eating with their friends. They were like, no, there used to be a vetting process. A lot of it was about what used to be happening, by the way. So, but it's because I'm a Nepo member that I don't understand was the consensus at the end of the night. So, okay.
Yeah, I think some context for our listeners that was missing as well from our last episode, was that when you brought up your book club, it's literally just you and your friend.
That context was not missing. I said that explicitly.
Well, I felt as though what was missing from the discussion of like the difference between a club and friends doing things and calling it a club is that what happens when your friend doesn't show up for your book club? It's just you having read a book.
We text and reschedule. Like, what are you talking about?
Fair. I don't know why it sticks with me, but like I do feel like I need to solve the mystery of what distinguishes friends doing things versus calling my foodie club a foodie club.
I mean, what does distinguish it in Foodie Club? Not much. I think it's just if you say it's that, if I start going on a bike ride with a bunch of my friends, is it bike club? It could be if I decide to distinguish it that way,
I suppose so.
I mean, I think the regular cadence maybe is what makes it a club, like this isn't just like so am I in pickleball club with my friend if I go and I play pickleball with her more than like once a month?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess if you go hiking with a person or a group of people, yeah, I guess you could call it a club.
Yeah, I really think it's just if you call it that. So.
Well, maybe there's also this aspect of like membership that is what delineates.
What are the dues for Foodie Club?
Well, there were rules. So Foodie Club has rules of membership. So you have to be willing to eat every meal family style. Obviously, we're there to try the food of different cuisines. So If you are not willing to share your meals, you cannot be a member of Foodie Club. We split the bill evenly. We don't sit down like, splitting and itemizing each individual thing because, again, we're eating family style. And the third rule was if you can't abide by one or two, then you can't be in Foodie Club.
Okay.
So, maybe there is this aspect of like, if I think of like a golf club or any other type of lodge club, it's the idea of like membership versus guests. And so perhaps that's why it's like, well, is you and your friend getting together and reading a book really a club? I don't know, but I could read the same book as my friend who's in a book club. And not
we're making a concerted effort to read it at a certain time frame and discuss it.
Yeah, I'm not in your book club, so I'm not a member of this club. So yeah,
I do feel hey, Foodie Club's a club, great. Is this like an argument? Like, I feel like you could also just put boundaries around, like, I don't go out to eat with people if they do this weird bill thing and, like, you have to share your food with me, But, like, I do think the rules, I guess, make it a club.
When we went to a friend's birthday dinner with a good portion of Foodie Club members, we did not abide by those rules. We split that bill up completely.
Yeah. Is it a club or is it just gatekeeping?
Well, getting back. Let's bring it back again. We should be gatekeeping more.
We should. Yeah, it's true. I will say that, okay, if I'm being completely transparent, sometimes when someone has expressed interest in Foodie Club, I use the exclusivity of it to get out of having to invite them in. Like, I'm like, well, you have to like, so I also use like, can't just come out to eat with my sister and her friends. It's like a club, actually.
That's actually wild that anyone would want to do that. Like, they've never
met. When they ask me what I'm doing, and I'm like, I'm doing Foodie Club, they're like, what's Foodie Club? I'm interested because I also like food, and I like clubs, apparently. And I'm like, oh, well, actually, it's going to require that you have to share all the food, and then you have to split the bill evenly, and I kind of try to use the rules to deter them.
So they are creating this air of structure that would delineate it from just friends casually going out to eat together.
I said it was you going out to eat with your friends, okay? Me, I'm, an interloper. So I'm like, I can't invite another interloper into it. Also don't really want to. So I'm kind of like, well, it's not really my club, so what am I supposed to do, But for you, yeah, it is good. Okay.
Yeah. I will say that, like, I have not invited as a founder of Foodie Club, I have not invited a lot of people to join its membership ranks. Now, one of our members has brought people in, and she told them that it was, she gave out such an air of exclusivity that these members were shaking in their boots about like whether or not they could bring their partners with them. Whether or not we'd like them, whether or not they'd be accepted, like treating their first meal with Foodie Club almost as some trial. And I'll never forget, like 8 weeks into Foodie Club, and this person had joined a few times, and we went to an Indian lunch buffet, coming back to, the Indian food we had last night, not the buffet. But I had brought my spouse, and the gentleman who had most recently joined was like, oh, I could have brought my partner? It's like, we've been telling you that all along. Like, as much as we do have this era of exclusivity, you can invite anyone you want as long as they'll adhere to the rules.
Didn't he also say, like, wow, I'm surprised you guys let me come because of how exclusive it is? He has definitely given off this idea that, like, I don't know what was said to him. I was not privy to those conversations, but he must think that we are, very exclusive and snobby. Oh.
Anywho, getting back to the Indian food we had last night, I need to note that I really enjoyed the Indian that went into my body. I have not enjoyed the Indian that has left my body.
Yeah.
It has been rough. It's a rough day for me.
I go into these things, I track my macros, so I go into this perfectly planned. I'm like 1.5 servings of butter chicken, 1 slice of garlic naan, 1/4 cup of rice. What I consumed last night was so much more than that. It was actually a crime that I even tried to plan it.
It's funny hearing you talk about what the plan was.
Because you sat across from me and watched me eat no less than 10 pieces of naan, 7 servings of butter chicken, the lamb biryani, so much of it. I mean, and we tried every single dessert on the menu.
A chai tea.
The rice that I was putting that yogurt sauce on because one of the dishes was a little spicy. Oh, it was the garlic chili or the chili naan. Like, I mean, I was scooping and then the mango chutney with the rice. I mean, the amount with which I consumed, if you knew how I was like, it's okay. Like, at some point I was like, maybe I shouldn't go because I just, I love Indian food so much. I'm like, no, it's okay. You can have some self-control. Also, Ken will be so bad if you don't go. So you kind of have to. And I'm glad I went because it's delicious. But yeah, I definitely...
1/4 cup of rice. 1 slice of garlic naan. Like, what is even
my best laid plans? Okay, they did not work out for me, but I'm still happy because that was Indian's my favorite food, but that was top tier.
As someone who does not track their macros, but is trying to get better at stopping eating when my body is telling me that I'm full. It is so hard to do when the food tastes so good.
It's so good.
Like, it tastes so freaking good, and I want to try everything.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and then masala sauce just sitting right there, and the naan's right there, and then it wasn't helping that 2 of the foodie club members are like, "Can we get another thing of naan?" And I'm like, yeah, it's just staring me in the face, looking so good, and I'm like, I did not necessarily overeat past hunger. I didn't gorge myself, but I definitely. I did more than I had planned for, so.
Well, I haven't eaten anything all day, so I made another mistake in all of this. So didn't track the macros going into the meal or have a plan, and hadn't eaten anything all day, so that by the time I sat down, I was the first to arrive. No one else was there. I told the waiter, I need a samosa chaat immediately. Like, bring it out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Gobbled that up, told myself, okay, I'm finally eating. This is fine. Kept eating. Another cheese naan, please. Yeah. Indian food's just too good.
It's too good.
And I'm
also
suffering for it today.
Went wrong because I was getting coffee with a friend before and that I was hungry, but I was trying to save my hunger for Indian in case I did go just slightly over my macros, and instead we ended up getting sandwiches at this coffee place. So I'm like, now I've eaten, like, it was a mess, but it was worth it. It was delicious, and I will be back.
To a Benz, I'ma live it up cause I don't know when God gon' call my name. All I know is I stay flying and never worry about a lane. Took it L and bounced right back because it's solid, don't complain. It's gon' happen to the best, might have to charge it to the game. You gon' listen or you not, either way I'm getting paid. Crib been getting big as fuck, I'm thinking that I need a maid. Might just put my best to work.
Food. I know we talked last episode about watching and making Ratatouille.
Yeah.
In addition to also obnoxiously telling people how we go around saying croissant, crepe, and anything that is French and or Italian, bruschetta.
If we know the correct mascarpone.
Like some just assholes. So I actually had to look it up because I think I don't remember eating Ratatouille. I've certainly never seen the movie yet. So I looked it up, and I'm excited about the idea of eggplant, though. So I think I actually am going to try and make it. I saw one that was specifically a Disney Ratatouille recipe.
Sounds delicious.
So I think I am going to make that when we opt to watch Ratatouille. And I think we should plan to do like a recap of my impression of the film.
Okay.
Everyone wants to know what a mid-30s-year-old
thinks about a cartoon that
Disney
came out 17 years ago.
Yes, exactly.
So, a couple of things. Being an annoying person, I also call eggplants aubergines. But yeah, it was. I thought it would look. I told you in the last time. I don't know what it was because it was a cartoon I was watching. Okay, but it looked a little complicated for the. I thought when I originally saw Ratatouille, I thought it was pepperoni he was putting in that dish, and it looked amazing. Okay, it was all vegetable, but yeah, it's like four vegetables: zucchini, aubergines, tomatoes, and maybe a summer squash if you're feeling fancy. So you can make it. I can consume it, and we can watch this classic movie.
I'm excited. That is also a ride at Disney World that I never got to ride.
I don't. Do they have one at Disneyland?
Not at Disneyland.
Never seen
it's at Epcot Center.
I wonder if they have one at Disney Paris.
And it is always it had a huge line. It was like just apparently it's like the ride at Epcot.
What's happening there?
I don't know. Like what's going on? What's that rat doing?
What's that rat doing over there? What's Remy Rat up to? Okay.
As someone who's never seen the movie, I'm like, I don't know what even to expect.
I mean, he was under some guy's hat, pulling his hair.
Okay, don't spoil it.
Okay. I mean, it's not really a spoiler. That's like the whole entire plot is that he's under Linguine's hat, pulling his hair, which is controlling his body movement so that he can chef.
This person's name is Linguine.
His name is Linguine. It's great.
This is why Disney's terrible, because they actually perpetuate and create these awful stereotypes.
I mean, he think he's an American in France. So
nobody's name should be Linguine.
I don't know. I do know his backstory. Maybe once you know his backstory, it'll make sense. So
okay, well, I guess if he's not Italian, I guess it's a little less offensive. But
I want to go back to food and talk about Keith Lee was in the UK trying the classic cuisine. He got invited to do something with Netflix Bridgerton, I think.
Okay.
And
so not to actually see Gordon Ramsay.
I think he might.
Okay.
I don't know. I
don't know who else is over there, because when I think of worldly good cuisine,
that's not on the list.
London, England, the UK.
Except for their Indian food. That is apparently really good over there. And that is on the list in that regard, but no other regard. But if you see the video of him trying to eat this beans on toast. And then something I never heard of before because I like good food is, what did they call it? Blood sausage, but it's called
sticky. It's not sticky. It's
I don't know what they call it.
Blood pudding.
Blood pudding.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have something called brown sauce? Just brown? I think what it comes back to is that, like, why are they eating wartime rations? Like, I don't understand their obsession with struggle food. And I've said this to you a million times, like, colonize the entire world for spices and never use them. It's like,
what was the point?
What was the point?
You were just going to eat your brickies and blood puddings. Like, why
blood pudding. I feel like I always try something. I wouldn't put that anywhere near my mouth. I swear.
That sounds really gross. I'm not trying to eat anything that's got too.
What did you think when you were over there? Their food.
When I went to, so funnily enough, when I went to London with my spouse, we were delayed, but we had our first reservation in London was at this restaurant called Gymkhana, which is Indian food.
Yeah.
And so our first meal in London was hands down delicious. It opened my spouse's eyes to Indian food. Now they love Indian food. Before they were a little reserved when it came to that cuisine, but they loved it. When our first exposure to what British people are eating on a regular basis, their World War I mealtime, it was similarly hotel food because breakfast was included. So we're delayed. We get there. We have our Indian food. We go to bed. We wake up. We have this English breakfast. And for whatever reason, they actually just slice tomatoes in half and warm them up and serve them for breakfast, which I think is a European thing. It's just tomato.
Just a tomato.
Yeah, I don't get it. But bacon, sausage, toast, beans is weird. I love baked beans. But that's the thing. I agree with Keith Lee. They're not baked beans. Delicious maple brown sugar. Throw some bacon in there. A southern staple. They're not those kinds of brown beans. No. These are beans that are just stewed in a plain ketchup-like water sauce. So not flavorful, not good. Went to a pub to get the fish and chips. That's my British accent for everyone. One of many. I have several. But yeah, got the fish and chips. just not great.
You know, there's probably a reason why when you go to places that have a lot of international cuisine readily available, I ain't never seen a British food place.
Oh no.
I've never seen that. I've seen German. I've seen, anything that you can imagine, but I've never seen one of those Union Jack flags outside telling me that I can find British food here.
There is like pubs, like pub style pubs here. And so anyone who is an international football fan, that's where they would go to watch their football team play, as well as like World Cup teams. I have even been to a Caucasian restaurant, and not just a white, that's not code. I mean, of the Caucasus, like very Eastern European food. And similarly, like good, but like, what are we doing with just bread and cheese? Like,
grilled cheese.
I don't know. So, wasn't my favorite, didn't love it. I think the memes about England having terrible food are accurate. But not because of the other cultures that are making food in England.
In spite of them.
Yes. But after we were in London, we quickly made our way to France, where not only do they know how to prepare and serve their food, but they also taught the rest of the world how to do that. So,
Cap end European vacations in other countries, basically, if you want to enjoy the food.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to going back. One of the reasons I'm looking forward to going back to Paris, though, is that I'm really interested in more of like a local fair experience. I felt like our time was really limited because we had that delay in London, and we were, focused on a little bit more of like reservations or room service, pretty much. It was like, okay, do we want to hang out? Maybe go to a local bakery. So I didn't really get the experience of
croque monsieurs.
Yeah, like what is it like to just be walking down a cute street in Paris and pop on in and have a cute little lunch, a little petit déjeuner, or
You know what I've been like really trying to find since we started planning this trip is in that movie, in Passport to Paris, Mary-Kate and Ashley have coordinating cross-color backpacks and sunglasses. So one's wearing blue, one's wearing pink.
Yeah,
and the sunglasses are not particularly.
Okay. We need to also preface that these backpacks, they're not like traditional backpacks. These are single sling,
yes, over the shoulder,
across your body, and
ginormous.
ginormous. So like the size of a JanSport backpack.
No, they weren't ginormous. They're just tiny girls.
Okay, but they're not like they're not like the fanny packs that people are wearing.
No, they're bigger than that. Also, they wouldn't fit a modern day cell phone in them because this is the day as a flip phone. So it did have a cell phone pocket like right on their chest, but it wouldn't fit one.
Yeah, I'm just trying to paint the picture for the viewers that unfortunately have not seen this amazing film that is Passport to Paris.
Really need to watch it. But in addition to that, they had very not cute sunglasses on us. I don't think they're gonna look good, but I want them anyways.
They're Elton John style lenses. So a little pink frameless or round frame, oval frame.
And you'd be surprised how hard it is to find blue and pink sunglasses that are completely see-through, so you can see every expression your eyes are making.
For adult people
that aren't that expensive, because honestly, I know they're going to look ugly. So I'm like, I was at a, what do they call those? A swap meet? Okay, a farmer's market. And I saw some that were very close to what I was looking for, but they didn't have one in pink. They only had it in blue. And then they had one in purple, but the frames were white. And I was like, that's ugly. So I ended up buying them because they were so cute, but I ended up just getting them in black and brown. So I kind of defeated the purpose, and I spent $70 on getting us those sunglasses. But I'm still looking out for the pink and the blue Elton John style sunglasses under $70.
Each or combined?
Combined, because apparently that's the level at which I'm willing to spend to chase this dream. Plus, the backpacks I'm a little more flexible on. I do want them to be, they don't have to be pink and blue, but I feel like they do have to be pink and blue. But they don't have to be the same style.
I'm not wearing that in Paris.
Pink and blue?
I'm not wearing that 90s crossbody backpack. Like,
no, not that exact backpack. I just think that they should be pink and blue.
Oh, so you mean just any coordinating?
Yes, twin backpacks. It doesn't even have to be a sleep bag. It can be one of those, like, the little backpacks I like to carry around. Be one of those. And honestly, it could technically be different colors because I do want pink. And I don't know how you feel about that. So we should actually talk about how you feel about being relegated to blue.
I don't care. Okay, great. I have a beige bag that I was hoping to take, but I'm open to getting something in similar style.
This is in addition to all the other this is one specific look.
So what is this? Is this the Disneyland look?
Maybe. Yeah, actually, that's a great idea. It could also be that's mystery solved, problem solved. Yeah, okay. Great.
So no, I have no feeling. Now, are we stuck on, okay, because this is a specific blue. We're talking a baby blue. Like a baby blue to sky blue. Like a sky blue, baby blue color. And a baby pink to a Pepto pink.
Yeah.
That's like the range of Pantone we're working with here.
I agree.
Okay, so are we good with anything in that spectrum, or do we need it to specifically kind of closer match the actual colors?
I think I'm good with anything in the spectrum, but they should be coordinating. Like, you can't have like a baby blue and I have a Pepto pink. That's not cool.
That's crazy. Those are different movies.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'ma live it up cause I don't know when God gon' call my name. All I know is I stay flying and never worry about a lane. Took it L and bounced right back because it's solid, don't complain. It's gonna happen to the best, might have to charge it to the game. You gonna listen up.
Well, speaking of exciting upcoming trips, not to brag, but we are also heading out to Bonnaroo in Tennessee in June, which we're really excited for.
Are we excited?
I think I am excited. I do things in like blocks. So I get to Paris. Paris is my focus. Once we get back, then I'll focus more on Bonnaroo. I think that the lineup was really good. The thing that unrelated to Bonnaroo, but related to literally any festival or any time I see a music festival lineup, when 2 Chainz is not one of the top billed artists, even when he's not even on it at all, I'm upset because that's really who I want to see most. And I feel like he is never on these festival lineups. And like the rare occasion I do see him on there, he's like not even the top billed artist. And so I am in the habit, this insane psychotic habit of, oh, there's a festival? Zoom in, see 2 Chainz is there, I'm not going. But outside of that large oversight that the festival throwers of Bonnaroo have made, I am really excited. Minus the camping part, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to returning. It'll be my 3rd time going to Bonnaroo. But there are songs on my liked playlist that make me wish there were some artists that they would like either add to the lineup or that I wish were going to be there.
Yeah.
Specifically, K Tronada. I feel like I would really love to see them in general. And I typically don't go to standalone concerts very often. I really enjoy festivals because I feel like I get a lot of value out of them and I get exposure to new artists. As everyone knows, I don't keep up with music trends. Yeah. So it's nice to have some artists on there that I would never pay to see, like Avril Lavigne. But obviously, if I heard an Avril Lavigne song, I probably know the lyrics 100%. To it because that's what we listen to.
Yeah, it would be nice if the festival lineup was specifically curated to exactly what I wanted to see as well. I also think I would probably never go to see Luke Combs as a standalone, but when we got the playlist from them, he was number 1 on the playlist. I was like, he's got bangers, bro. I was loving it. So I'm really excited. For the same reasons. I like the all-encompassing, seeing a bunch of artists that I would never necessarily individually pay for in one. I've never been camping before. And I know
any camping. No.
I've stayed in a cabin. There's no real
okay, a childhood
not
camping.
Even summer camp, week 3-day excursion to science camp.
Yeah.
In a cabin. I don't know if that counts. But if it does, that I
camping in that you were in some semblance of nature and the mountains specifically.
I was, technically any house you stay at is in nature in some way. Another adult was in charge. So, now I'm the adult in charge and as a part of the group of adults in charge. And I know we're doing more of the glamping. I'm a little nervous about that. Every person I know or that knows me has said I will not like camping. So, and they've said that for years. So, You know, we'll see.
Do you think I'm more granola than you are? Like on a scale of bougie comfort in terms of this accommodation. Do you think you and I would be equal, or do you think you would be like on the more, no, it needs to be more elevated than
I just think that
like?
You have a different priority level. Like you can force rank priorities differently. Like you having this good time, you could like sacrifice a little bit of comfort for that. And I'm not built that way. I'm like, my comfort's gonna come up first and foremost, and anything outside of that I'm not doing. And then I can look into having a good time. So I definitely don't think that I'm necessarily more bougie than you. But I think that like I just would never think to do something like I would never sleep in a tent. I actually would be willing to try it, except for I feel like I'd ruin everyone else's fun time. Yeah. Because I'm not going to do it by myself, so I'm going to have to go with a group of people, and I will complain if I don't like it. I mean, I've already told you that if I'm not enjoying Bonnaroo, I'm just going to catch a flight home. So, because I mean, it's like 4 days or something. I can't. Yeah. I can't be uncomfortable for any amount of time, really. Yeah. I'm not meant to struggle.
I think I think it'll be interesting. I get what you're saying, where it's like I have this ability, I think, to be like I recently went to like the hot air balloon festival, and we glamped because it was easier, and I arrived in a tent and I saw bugs, and I thought to myself, oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to do this. And so there's a bit of me just like having to disassociate from a little bit of that reality, because the alternative is none. Exactly. I couldn't, for me, I'm like, okay, well, there is no like you're ditching your friends and you're going to a hotel. You're actually skipping out on this experience. So
I'm like Nene, the ghetto. Ooh, child.
This is the most elevated that I've gone. The first year was the roughest. It was in a tent. The second was a cot. Oddly enough, though, I will say the first year I went, I don't know how, but I feel like I made it through. I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. Even though I was sleeping in a tent outside, I'll do that.
Yeah.
The second year, I was old bones suffering. I couldn't, and I had they built the tent for me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm suffering. So, and yet there's still a part of me 10 years later. I'm like, I gotta go back.
No shade, no tea, but it's like those, I know everyone, different strokes for different folks, but like those people that go camping and hiking for their honeymoon, and like,
ugh. No.
You literally just described my own personal hell.
Oh my God.
Like, like, if I'm not staying at the Ritz-Carlton City Center where I can go get a massage or like a facial, or like, I just, and I'm like, okay, did you convince yourself you like that? Like,
I had a coworker tell me that they were doing that for their bachelorette party. So like, you're
mouth agape,
time off of work to go climb a mountain.
That's a choice,
People enjoy that.
They do.
I might go do that nearby with friends amidst other things, but I'm not seeking that out.
I mean, like, personally. I would do that if I had a backup hotel reservation. And like maybe my friends were doing it and I was driving up for the evening to roast marshmallows next to the fireside, and then I was leaving and going home. But yeah, I do try not to yuck other people's yums when they tell me that stuff, but sometimes it's visceral. I'm like, ew. Like, and I'm like, wait, no, like if you like it, I love it. So
yeah, I just think like for me, it's like there's this part that's like, obviously but like I would really like to go and see national parks. I know that is going to require me to be in nature that I am not normal in a way that I'm not normally.
Mm-hmm.
So, but is that something where I'm like, yes, for my honeymoon, yes, for my bachelorette party?
Imagine paying to go.
And then inviting other people. And I'm like, how do you have other people that want to do this?
That's insane.
That's crazy. Out of state, across the country.
That's almost as insane as when people do like the traveling bachelorette parties. Like, we're going to go to Aruba and it's $20,000 for my bachelorette party. Like, those are two sides of the same crazy coin.
So yeah, no, I'm actually not going to the St. Regis either for your bachelorette party, nor am I going camping and hiking. But I agree. Luke Combs, I'm very interested. There's a couple of people on the lineup that I'm interested. Insane Clown Posse. I would never
think about seeing them.
But
so excited.
I'm excited that I'm going to see them because I am going to this festival.
I'm so excited. I thought it was interesting that you said that it's kind of like a self-sustaining commune, I'll say.
Yeah, I've been to a few music festivals. It is the only one I've gone back to. It's got, we talked about Travis Scott, crowd, terrible,
Yikes.
trash, hooligans, garbage. It's also about the crowd. Like, the experience of Bonnaroo is that everyone's there all doing the same thing as you. And so it's not like people are just coming in and then they're leaving and then they're coming back in and going back to life. It's like, we're all there. And so there's a spirit of like, people help each other. They're willing to share things.
Aww.
Like, if you see someone who is like dehydrated, people are willing to share their water. Like, it's just a very different energy that I haven't experienced at other festivals. So it is really interesting. And they do a lot of like environmental work because they know the impact of having people come fly across the country, drive from the airport, basically live on this land for 4 to 7 days, essentially. And, get into all their mess is high. So it's an experience for sure. And if you ever see like their Instagram, they have a bunch of like flyover shots and it's just like, it looks insane.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Glorilla again.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Tyla. That'll be cool. Modest Mouse. Like, there's just like so many, and of course Tyler, the creator. Yeah. He's one of the main headliners.
It's like really Glass Animals is on this lineup.
Yeah.
And I really need to listen to more of their discography because I like a few of their songs. Again, as much as I love the artists that I am there to see, like you've mentioned, Tyler, the creator, I'm also interested in the artists that I would never pay to see and I would never seek out.
Yeah. I agree. Like Olivia Rodrigo, I'm really excited to see her.
Olivia.
But I probably wouldn't ever end up at one of her concerts.
Exactly. Ever.
Shit hurt me every day. Get on my knees, pray. I'm trying to find another way. I gotta get up out this jungle. Niggas killing just to eat. Them lies ain't playing fair, so it's been getting I don't give my heart away.
In unrelated music news, did you see one, A$AP Rocky was found out guilty, but the freaking swan dive that he did towards Rihanna when they read that verdict.
I hope she's okay.
I hope she's okay. I saw a lot of like random comments and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that she really liked that man. Except for based on their reactions. I'm like, y'all are diabolical. You think it's just normal to have a bunch of children and not really like the person? I mean, it is actually.
They clearly have never.
I'm on board. I'm on board with what they were saying.
Wait. They clearly have never seen that video of Rihanna dancing. It might have been either at F1 or a fashion week show where she was dancing and she was looking at him over her glasses like she wanted to eat him up, make a third. So
I mean, every time I see like
we know she is. She's down for the D when it comes to rock.
He always looks like he's treating her so well too, and like so happy, and they're just so cute, and like
he gets it. He's not no buster like Chris,
right? Everyone was also so judgmental when he did not take that plea deal for pretty much no jail time because they're like, oh, he's risking 24 years or whatever.
It's a black man in America. It's a risk.
It is a risk, but he obviously didn't do it. Like I didn't look into the case. So I'm not saying for my opinion, but I'm saying I will trust the jury of his peers. But I have seen about the case. So yeah, that's why you say, no, I'm not taking this deal for no time because I didn't actually do it. But it was so sweet to see him die and scary. Yep. I was like, okay, this is still a court of law, sir. All right. You were saying you wanted to look more into his lawyers. And
I need to know more about what's going on there. I actually need a documentary. I need it not to be on Netflix either because I don't want to pay any subscription price increase to Netflix. So I need a Hulu documentary on this case, the lawyers, the relationships surrounding. I thought I heard one of the lawyers describe A$AP as his best friend. I said, why are you best friends with your lawyer?
Like, and was it beforehand?
Is that
or
one
was it
way?
because while he was defending you, like how I feel like Young Thug and his lawyer got really close in his trial. Like,
yeah, do you just become close because you're looking at this man thinking, oh, he's ride or die for me, and he's really going to bat to make sure I don't catch this case. But it's like, wait, this is a man you pay, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't pay my friends to keep me out of jail.
I mean, I would pay if that was their cost, but not to keep me out of jail. But
best friend. Your best friend's up for trial. You're an attorney. You're charging them. You're sending them an invoice.
I mean that, like, if, like, when my best friend's husband's a tattoo artist, I would pay him what he's worth and not ask for a discount because that's the respect I have for the friendship more than anything. That's
okay.
my
I feel like that is completely different because that is a tangential person to your best friend.
I'm sure if he went to jail, he wouldn't have charged him if they're best friends, you know. But if you win and you're the love of your life's worth $1 billion, yeah, I think you can pay my freaking rate. Okay, like let's not joke around here. I'll get you out of this little jam, and then I am gonna send you an invoice, bestie boo.
Transactional. I don't know.
You know what?
I just need to know. I need to know.
We should do more research. That also reminded me how insane that Young Thug trial was. That
trial was
truly humble under God is probably one of the most hilarious moments of all time. Like, that lawyer was putting in effing work. Like, I mean, every time the witnesses that were like, they were on their necks. They were not letting them get away with their lame, like, you know, whatever they were doing. And every time it was like, also totally random. I don't think we talked about this. Young Thug has released an album since he got out of that jam. It was not very good, but I did try to listen to it.
He had all that time on his hands. What was he doing?
I know. I should try to listen to it again, maybe on like a promenade.
I haven't listened to that. I still need to listen to Gunna's album.
You gotta listen to Gunna's album because I
said it was good.
I didn't say it was good. What I did say was, what I'm always shocked at is how much white boys love Gunna. Like, I mean, he is always at the top of the charts when he releases an album. I didn't realize how popular Gunna was.
Wow.
Except for like that whenever he releases something, he is number one on the charts. A lot of people don't, like, especially in rap, you know, like he will dethrone some of those pop princesses between him and Travis Scott. So that's why I assume it's white boys, because like same crowd,
same amount of
like
audience.
All the toxic white kids love Gunna. I did listen to the album. It is very chill vibes. I did like it well enough, but I did not say it was good.
Okay. Well, I mean,
as people liked it. People love Gunna. I feel like we talked about this before, where I was like, that's shocking to me, not for any reason other than that I see the world through my own lenses, and I didn't care about Gunna, so I just assumed
no one else
did. And now you have to stay tuned in, because that's probably, you know, honestly, with how much white boys love him, that's like the alt-right pipeline somehow. You know, like, it's like something's happening there. There's a Gunna to this to alt-right. So, like, you know, and you gotta stay informed. Stay on your toes.
If they do release some type of documentary, hopefully I'll get insight, because the first person he hugged was this blonde lawyer.
Yeah, she got in the way. If anything, he was like actually shoulder checking her. Like,
yeah, he hugged her, and then he was like, "Oh, wife right behind her.
Yeah,
let me swan dive her."
I feel like he was heading for Rihanna. He saw her, and she was like, I don't know what it was, but that lady looked like she got her tooth knocked out while he was trying to get to Rihanna.
There's something very powerful. I unrelated to. I mean, it's semi-related. There's something very powerful about a verdict being read in a court. And I felt like everyone was gonna cry in the video that I saw. Like, the lawyers all looked like they were gonna cry tears.
And I mean, the only thing I can think of to align it is Maury Povich saying, "You are not the father," but like, it's not the same. But it's like this moment where you know the truth, and you hope other people see the truth too. I can't imagine how like intense that is. The only thing I compare it into my life is waiting to hear how much my bonus is gonna pay for my corporate job. You know, like I'm trying to think of a moment where like everything hinges on the words that are going to be spoken in the next moment. You know, like that sounds so freaking intense. Like I don't even know. Like, what's a moment in your life that you can connect to something so insane?
Well, having served on a jury before, I've never felt something like that, because even though we had spent time deliberating, discussing, arguing, debating, it was very interesting because once we walked back into the court with our verdict, and it was a civil trial, it was not a criminal trial. So, people's lives were not technically hinging, or freedom was not technically hinging on our verdict. But when you go in, they read the verdict, and then the jury leaves again. So it's like this process, right? And so when we left after having the verdict read, a lot of us who had been like kind of stone-faced during this process were actually like tearing up, because it's like there's something very crazy about like realizing that 12 people are going to have some type of impact like that. So it was just and I've never felt or experienced anything like that. And I wasn't expecting that. That's the other thing, is like sitting in my seat that I'd been sitting in for 2 weeks with my heart pounding, even though I knew what was going to come. I knew what he was going to say, but just that process. And I think you catch this in the video too, where it's like, it's very methodical of the judge going juror by juror. Like, you agree with this, you agree with this. Okay. In the case of such, and such, so-and-so. And it's just this very, kingly type of like declaration. And so it builds up a lot of this emotion, I think, in the process. And so I thought I saw lawyers crying. So it made me believe that they were best friends. And I felt like I needed to know more. I need to know, how are they hanging out?
Well, what you described doesn't sound like me getting awarded my bonus.
No.
So,
I mean,
I'll try to do something else.
It's just a very interesting experience, which is why it was so cool. I was like, if you ever have the chance, I know we all as a society joke about trying to get out of jury duty, but it's actually a very cool process. So if you ever get the chance to do it,
to a bench, I'ma live it up, cause I don't know when God gon' call my name. All I know is I stay flying and never worry about a lane. Took it L and bounced right back because it's solid, don't complain. It's gonna happen to the best, might have to charge it to the game. You gon' listen or you.
Let's get into our weekly ins and outs.
Yay.
What's in for you this weekend?
I was thinking about how in for me this week is small luxuries that elevate your life.
Ooh.
This was something that you taught me. And I think to give some context, as boring or not, but you and I grew up, I would say, like, we grew up poorer than those around us because we also grew up in an affluent area.
Mm-hmm.
And coupled with the fact that once we went off to college, we were relatively self-supporting. I think we probably adopted, over the course of our life, this mentality of frugality and, necessary, thoughtfulness into like certain decisions. And so, for example, I never purchased facial tissue. I would blow my nose using toilet paper, right? Like, why do I need to buy an additional paper product to do something that this other paper product can also do that I actually need, right? And so it just is something that I think has required a little bit of unpacking as I've gotten older, is that it's not bad or wrong to spend, responsibly, but also on things that I think will help or, add something to my life. And so finding little things like being able to, blow my nose with facial tissue is just something that I'm really grateful that I can do, and has allowed me to like, feel a little bit of extra luxury in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the most expensive thing, but it just adds a little bit of extra like adulting and luxury in my life. And so for me, that's in. I think another example are things like, baby wipes, your little poop wipes. So, it's just like, no one needs that, but it's like,
I love it.
No one without a baby needs that. But yeah, it's like, why not? Just a little bit of extra luxury.
It's a great one.
Yeah. What about you?
I think what's in for me this week is prescription strength pain medicine. That's in. I had mentioned last week how I'm training for a half marathon. That's why I need to see a massage by myself. This is why I need to get a massage and see a masseuse because my legs hurt so bad. I called you the other day. I said, I feel like Rick James in that Chappelle Show skit where they beat the crap out of his legs and he's like crawling out of the house. That's I'm referencing them as Rick James legs. I've been taking a magnesium bath every day, which actually does really help. And I have some prescription strength Aleve. Something stronger would probably be great, but that's fine. It's helping. And hopefully this massage cures me once and for all. So yeah, that's what's in for me.
Hopefully. Good.
Let's move into your outs. What's out for you this week?
Yeah, my week. For me, what's out are anyone who has worked in corporate America has probably experienced this, so can definitely relate to my out this week. But my out is performance reviews. I don't understand why they do them. You know, it's like this idea of first you rate yourself, but how you rate yourself really doesn't matter. It's really going to all come down to how your company rates you, how your manager rates you, and then they want to have a conversation about it. It's like, I don't understand what the performance of all of this is. So yeah, that's out for me this week. I had my performance review. It went exactly as I expected it to go, but that doesn't mean that I liked it or ascribed to whatever message they were trying to push my way. I did not enjoy the process of it. And I just think sometimes it's so performative that it's hard for me to, I couldn't even feign interest. I had to feign interest in what they were saying. And had to have this just really generic fake conversation. I didn't love it. So I feel, for me personally, that's out. And anyone who has had to go through that, I'm sure can relate.
In terms of what's out for me this week, I'm going to say it's pre-budgeting, meaning that like, not budgeting, like spending the money before it's hit your account. You know, like in the vein of performance reviews happening right now, it's bonus season. Not to keep talking about this corporate bonus that's coming my way. I'm pretty sure I know what it's going to be. So I'm like in my head, like, oh, how am I going to spend it? You know, and I'm like, this is why you have a spending problem. Like, why don't you actually get that money into your account before you start allocating it across all of your needs, wants, and desires? So I'm really trying to rein it back in until that money hits my account. So just don't spend it before you have it. And that's what's out for me this week.
Which part? The spending it before you have it?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
having to do that? Okay.
But all of it.
I think you remember last week I was like, I just want a trust fund, and that's out.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the power move of the week.
Okay, so first I want to start by saying that I don't think this is something that we plan to do every week necessarily. Last week we had some really great ones, and I do think it also will help to see like things in action. So this week isn't one that I'm proposing. This is one that I saw. Was very alarmed by. It was done on us while we were eating somewhere.
We were power
and
moved.
I was like, is she power moving us right now? So we were at a breakfast place as a family, enjoying just delicious food. And every time, multiple times, this must have happened 4 times in the course of the meal and even more with drinks. Every time our waitress would bring us something to the table, she would deliver it on the wrong side of the table. So imagine you're sitting in a tabletop of 4. If the 2 plates that she were delivering were the people on the right of the table, she stood on the left of the table and handed us our plates to put down ourselves.
Like she knew it was our food.
Right.
So it wasn't like she was going to a side of the table and like ask like, and then she would be, you know, oh, who got this?
Right. Because all 4 of us got it at the same time. No, it was like just the 2 on the right, it's food's here, and I'm going to the left.
Yep.
And now I'm coming back, and the people on the left, I'm delivering to them from the right. I'm like,
and not setting it down.
No.
The power move in this was that she would announce the food order and then just hold it there
and wait for us
to retrieve it from her.
Can I get some more, please, Mom? Like, what was happening?
And we were so shocked.
I was shocked.
That in hindsight, I was like, I can't believe we let her power move us like that.
And
Like,
mind you, I was like, it's not like we were bad guests or anything. So I'm like, I don't know if this was just like, you know, one of those small things you do to be like, you don't like your job, so you just do these small things to keep your sanity. But like, I think by like the second or third time, I was like, what is she doing? And why is she doing
multiple
this?
trips, yeah.
It was so many times that we all noticed independently of each other and then talked about it.
Yeah. It was, we ordered a lot of food. So it was like leaving the table the first time and then coming back with the next set of food. Going to the other side,
opposite side of the table. That was
of the
crazy.
table.
It's like, it's not even like you have a favorite side of the table. You're just, it's like, it's now. So for our listeners, if you are a wait staff at a restaurant and you want to do a power move of the week, you can do this to your guests because we didn't say anything. And mind you, we're pretty vocal people.
Yeah.
Like, what you would sound insane if you said, "Can you stop handing me the food from the wrong side of the table?" Like,
yeah.
So this is one of those small things you can do to get your power back in a situation where, I mean, I think we didn't pay the bill. One of our parents did, but I'm pretty sure we still tipped her well. We always do. And we didn't say anything. We just complained about it to each other.
Yeah. And, you know, having had that power move done to us, it did make me think of the response to such a move to regain the power in that power exchange, which would be, I'm not picking up my food. You're dropping it.
Just leaning back and not making eye contact and waiting for them.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not serving myself the food. Okay. Like it was not a large table where it would have required like a long extension.
No, it was insane. I understand what was happening.
You know,
like
there are some times where it makes sense. Their hands are completely full. And so it's like, okay, you're trying to help them out. This was just odd.
One plate at a time, going to the opposite side of the table, making the person grab it from your hands, going to get the next plate, going to the other side of the table, making that person on the other side grab it from your hands until all of us were served.
Grabbing your own plates. I'll go to a buffet next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks again for hanging out with me.
I had a blast as always.
I love seeing you.
Only seen you 7 other times this week.
I know. Well, I really wish that more interesting things would have happened this week.
But not like too interesting, because like boring is good.
Yeah.
In our own personal lives, but in other people's lives. Yeah. Zhuzh it up a bit. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, what's everyone doing now that football game's not happening? The Grammys have passed. Like, what's coming up next for them? Like, we've got Paris planned.
The Oscars are coming up. Ooh.
Oscars. Oh my God. There was that movie with
Amelia Perez.
Yes. I haven't watched, you know, I don't even need to get into it. Let's just
You haven't watched and heard a lot of stuff.
I don't watch her. I can't. Dramatic things are just too much for me. But it was really nice hanging out with you this week, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next week.
Yes, ma'am. We will see you all then.
All right. Stay pretty.
Stay prideful.
20 steps,
especially if you're blind.
Can't play me like no fool. I turn niggas to believers, let them go against this rule. I don't give my heart away. This shit hurt me every day. I get on my knees and pray.